Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the second day of the conference. I know many of you had a really good party yesterday night, so I hope you got some sleep because we have really intense and really interesting topics that we're covering today. Before we start with this session, I would like to introduce myself. Some of you know me, some of you have been lucky, so you don't know me. My name is Neziri Damir. And I come from Macedonia. I'm working in the civil society sector, civil society development for around 10 years. And I've been part of this conference for 7 years, sometimes as a speaker, sometimes as an organizer, sometimes as a moderator, and a lot of times just visiting. And it's always a pleasure to see a group of young people from all around Europe coming to discuss really important topics. For the future of Europe. Today, we have something that touches everybody on a daily basis, and that's technology. Technology in the past years totally changed how things work. It changed us. Yesterday, while we were having the coffee, we were talking how many of us are the last generation that actually remembers these old phones and pagers and remembers the time before there was internet. The new generations will not remember that, and technology influenced us and influenced our lives quite a lot. So we have few speakers now that will tell us how technology is being used, or how you can use technology in order to do something that we've been doing all the time. So our everyday lives, we can use it in everyday lives to make the change. On my left side, we have Mr. Isidoros Sideris, co-founder of Ziben from Greece. It's an IT company that uses, he'll be talking more about it, but he'll be talking about how his presentation. Okay. Okay, you hear me? You hear me. So the presentation is called Digital Darwinism, and he'll be talking about how businesses need to evolve in order to follow kind of and use the development of the technology. Then we have Mr. Alexander Stojkovic that works for Microsoft in Belgrade, and he'll be talking about something that Microsoft has been developing, and it's called Microsoft CityNext. That is kind of an application or platform that should help empower cities and citizens. And actually, our third presenters are kind of connecting to this story about empowering cities and citizens, because they're already empowered young people that actually try to empower more. And even though technically they don't really use, technology is not their first thing, we will see how technology totally connects to what they're doing in order to spread the message. And there we have Miss Yulia Ivanova and Mitko Dimitar from Podlesno, from Bulgaria, that will be talking about what their non-formal group is doing in regards to help the citizens of Sofia. So without any further ado, I would like to give the word or the floor to Mr. Isidoros Sideris to talk about digital Darwinism. But before we do that, it's usually we have the presentation and then we have the questions. But I will give an opportunity to Nemanja. He said that he want to ask Isidoros one thing, so I'll just allow him. And before that, I have one small technical announcement that I was asked to tell, and that's that only the people that have signed to all the participants list for each session will be eligible for travel reimbursement. So make sure that you're here and you're part of the list. Nemanja, you had a question.
Yeah. I had a question to ask, like, why did you choose exactly that name for the topic? I mean, it's obvious that if businesses didn't involve yet, they are dead or they will be dead soon. So,
very nice question. First of all, because I love science, I really love it. I love biology and evolutionary biology very, very much. And I saw a connection between Darwinism and how the survival of the fittest works there with what happens in businesses with technology. And you will see some examples, and we will completely understand why I selected this title.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, feel free to start.
Okay.
Be ready for Isidore to play.
Presentation? Yes, let's go directly to the browser, and then we will switch to the presentation. Okay, yes. So, hello, my name is Isidoros. I am from Greece, from Athens, and I am co-founder of Ziben. Ziben is an IT company in Greece, one of the most successful with 120 employees. But now I'm running also a spin-off of Ziben. It's called Pobuka. It's a startup, and you will see why I selected to make this change also. It's also related with the presentation that I'm going to show you now. And in the beginning, let's start with a game. We can start with a game. And have you ever heard of the terminology biomorphs? None of you. Okay. It's very, very interesting. And actually, you will understand how from... may I have the mouse? Okay. And can we... Yeah. Sorry for this. Okay. Yeah. In biology, actually, this cute puppy and this wolf are the same species, which means that they can breed. Since they can breed, it's supposed to be the same species. And it's amazing. I mean, how can it be from this wolf in 20,000 years to have this puppy? And you will see how. You will see how using biomorphs. What is biomorphs? We select an organism. Let's say we select this one. And after this makes 1 million exact copies of itself, but 9 of them are different. So there are 1 million copies that are not presented here, and 9, or how many? 12 replicants are not the same. So let's say that we are trying to make our species bigger, which means that we keep selecting bigger icons here. Where's the mouse? Okay. Yeah. So I select this, then I select this, bigger, this one, this one, this one, that one, that one, that one. Aha. Wow. Wow. We started almost from a dot, and now we have a big organism, a complex organism. In a similar process, we started from a wolf 20,000 years ago, and we moved to a puppy with selective breeding. The people selected offsprings, wolf offsprings, that were closer to what they wanted to have. So they wanted to have a cute puppy, so they kept selecting cute puppies, and from a big wolf, we had a puppy. Why I'm saying this? Let's move now to the presentation. Yes, it does. Excellent. What is the theory of evolution? The theory of evolution is that life started from one simple chemical compound that could self-replicate, which with rare but ongoing mutations means error in copies. As we said before with biomorphs, we had 1 million exact copies, but 12 of them were different. These were the mutations. So with some rare but ongoing mutations, the natural selection picks the survival of the fittest, picks the the offspring that supports more to live. In our case, it was me selecting the bigger and the most complex, the biggest and the most complex icon. In the case of wolves, it was again people that selected the most cute puppies, and from wolves, we moved to puppies. But in nature, it's the natural selection. It's the survival of the fittest that makes these selections from 1 million exact copies, but the 10 or 12 different mutations that are going to survive. This guy is Darwin. Darwin is one of the greatest minds that ever came to Earth. Why? Because in 1860, he thought of a theory that at once he explained all life on Earth. At once. This is amazing. Before Darwin, we couldn't understand. We couldn't understand the variety of species. We couldn't understand how wolves become puppies. We couldn't understand anything about life. After Darwin, with a single theory, we explained how life works on Earth. And this is amazing. And there are three main things evolved with the theory of evolution. It's replication, that a chemical compound can make copies of itself. It's mutation, that some copies are not exact. There are some errors, as we saw before. And then it's selection, natural selection. But he also gave us something else, which is even more important. For the first time, we had the theory that we could produce something complex with a natural process. It was the first time on Earth that we had this theory. I mean, a natural process that something simple can produce complexity without having a designer or a cause. This is amazing. And as you saw before, with the biomorphs, we started from a dot, and we produced a complex thing. Okay, the selection process was from me, but it could be also natural selection process from nature. Let's see what happened to dinosaurs. So this was 60 million years ago, that dinosaurs were everywhere on the Earth. I mean, there were millions of dinosaurs, but something special happened, and they went extinct. What was that? Let's see the video. A meteor came from space. A meteor came. The Earth warmed a lot because of this, because there were gases on the air, and we had something like the greenhouse effect. So we had less green, less trees for dinosaurs to feed, and therefore they were extinct. This means that the fittest is not always the bigger, is not always the stronger, is the one that fits better in the natural conditions that are at that time of period. This is very, very important. And now I will give an answer to your question that you started. What all this have to do with business? I mean, evolution, replication, mutation, selection, biology. How can this also work in the business world? And we have digital Darwinism. Digital Darwinism is the evolution of consumer behavior when society and technology evolve faster than your ability to adapt. This is the digital Darwinism, and we keep only mutation and selection. We have an environment that changes. Companies and businesses need to mutate, to change also, in order to adapt and to survive. This is the mid-generation C. From Generation X, Generation Y, now we have Generation C, and C stands for connection. Are you familiar with this picture? Best party ever? Connected people see the world differently. They are always on, and they want always to communicate through social media with their friends. Moreover, they use smart devices everywhere. You can see some stats over there. 49% state that they cannot do without smart devices even for one day. 83% sleep with their smart devices beside their bed. It's the first thing that you do when you wake up is to turn on your mobile phone. And 40% use smart devices in the toilet.
They don't actually turn them off at all.
They?
I mean, like I can say that 90% of the people here, I'm sure, don't put off their phone at night or somewhere which is not close to their bed.
Okay. Okay, it could be. And they also need a special app. This generation C needs a special app to solve this really serious problem. You can put some sound. Yes, he will. Yes. So, a very smart guy from the States thought of this special app that you can text and the camera is on while you're texting so you can see in front of you what happens. And this was in the top 10 for May 2015. Top 10 apps in America. Texting while you are walking. And with these all changes that come from technology, businesses also need to adapt. Have you ever heard of the Blockbuster? It was a video club chain in America with more than 20,000 stores all over US. And now they have something like 15. And actually they are up to the mountains or to small villages that people are not anymore familiar with technology, with Netflix, that they can download or stream movies. Why? Because they didn't change. Actually, Netflix was proposed for them to buy, to acquire, back in 2005, I think, or 4. They refused. They thought that, come on, we have 15,000 stores. They are a startup. They have nothing yet. They have just a nice idea. We are not going to acquire them. And now Netflix has a valuation of something like 20 billion euros. And they are off. Another company that was afraid to change is Kodak. Okay, Kodak for the older people makes sense, but I know that there are many young people that don't understand how big Kodak was. 15 years ago, in 1997 actually, it was 19 years ago, it had a valuation of $28 billion, and now it's bankrupt. Why? Because they didn't change. Because they had already invented digital photography, digital pictures. They had done so. But they didn't want to adapt it. Why? Because they thought that it's going to disrupt, it's going to cannibalize their traditional business. They said, come on, we are leaders in films. We have the best technology for films and cameras using films. Why should we adopt this technology? Because all the others, another guy is going to do it. And if you don't change, and if you don't adapt the new technology, you are going to die. This is what happened to Kodak, actually. This is no excuse for businesses anymore. Just because it's always been done this way, it's not an excuse for not to change. Technology is actually a meteor shower for businesses. It's like the dinosaurs didn't have one meteor coming 60 million years ago that they went extinct. It's like having meteor shower every 2 or 3 years. So imagine how much businesses need to adapt in order to to be able to survive in these big changes that happen in the landscape. So, digital transformation represents the quest to understand how disruptive technology affects the digital customer experience. The most successful companies in the world have always this phrase in mind. They make board meetings, and every month they discuss about this idea. How we should change, what should we make in order to survive with all the technology changes that are happening in our times. So another big question that they should always have in mind is, what would my digital customer do? My digital customer, the generation that uses smartphones even in the toilets, as we said before, the generation that is born with technology. I've seen babies that they are trying to go on the TV and start touching the TV because they think it's something, it's like a tablet. You can touch, and it has a touch interface. So another generation is coming that is born with technology, born with cloud, born with mobile devices. And all businesses should always think how they are going to cover their needs. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would like also to make a personal statement. As I told you before, I am one of the co-founders of Ziben. Ziben is one of the most successful companies in Greece. Traditional IT, CRM systems, professional service to customers, but we had also to do our own mutation, because apart from the technology changes in Greece, we have big crisis problems. So I am now CEO of a spin-off of Ziben. It's Pobuka. It's a mobile-first contact management. It's based on cloud. It addresses a global market, a global audience. We are not anymore restricted in Greece. So I did also my personal business mutation. So I left Ziben, and now, of course, I am still a co-founder, but I'm not anymore involved in its management. And now I'm running Pobuka, where I am CEO. And I hope that with my mutation, I manage to succeed and try to mutate and change in order to adapt the technology changes that come to IT business. Thank you very much for your attention.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sidoridis. And actually, now we'll kind of build up on what you were saying and how technology makes us develop and use and utilize the opportunities that it gives us. So we have Mr. Stojkovic here that will be talking about how we can use CityNext in order to work within our communities, within our cities.
Hello? I have this with me because I have speaker notes here. So I will walk in front of you, but we can click from that. I can click from your computer. Okay. Just 1 second. It's a bit out of focus, but yeah. Good. So I just wanted to start with something I didn't plan, but Mr. Isidoros kinda inspired. This is a borrowed slide. He mentioned one of the key topics that we talk about a lot and work about. I will introduce myself in a minute. But this is the slide I saw recently, talking about why digital transformation is a necessity. So Fortune 500, you're familiar, the big, huge companies. Guess what? Since 2000, it's 15 years, 16 years, 52% dropped out. And we have new Fortune 500 coming in 16 years. And also Gartner made a bold prediction in 2014, so 2 years ago, and then they said that due to digital incompetence, 25% of organizations are at risk of losing their market position. You lose a market position, you're gone. Evolution. So we will see. So it's September 2016. We will see how far. So this is something that I just wanted to connect to Isidora's story. This is it. Okay. That's not it. Okay. And ding. So the topic of my session is Microsoft City Next, what it is, and how do we go with empowering cities and citizens to achieve their potential. Quick introduction, if I get this working. Who am I? My name is Aleksandar Stojkovic. I'm born in Belgrade, in Serbia, some 45-ish years ago, but don't mind that. My current title is Digital Architect. I have yet to figure out what it is. It's my new role. I used to be an architect in different positions, solution architect, technology architect, enterprise architect. Now we're going digital transformation, so I'm transforming myself into a digital architect. My area of action, territory is Central and Eastern Europe. It's a bit broad. I started in Microsoft roughly 12 years ago, and I did a lot of traveling. I did projects in Japan, I did projects in Brazil, in UK. I think I missed Africa, but I touched most of the continents. Of course, Antarctica I didn't go yet. And previously I was a techie guy. I started first in ophthalmology, so I was fixing up the surgical equipment for the eye surgery. It was very noble and very underpaid job. Then I switched to IT and started a local company. Now it's one of the, let's say, decently sized solution partners in Serbia. And my background is electrical engineering, but it's okay. And you have my Twitter handle if you want to communicate. If you're still using email, first name dot last name at microsoft.com. Easy. And digital transformation, CityNext, public sector, these are my areas of interest and of institution. So that's about me, about Microsoft. So what is Microsoft doing here? Microsoft as a company is slightly younger than myself, so it was founded in '75. One of the survivors. We had our tough times. We started probably, some of you might remember the DOS operating system and ugly PCs, IBM. And the vision back then, vision of Bill Gates, was a PC on every desk. And some people thought about it's crazy. Even IBM, who was a big partner of Microsoft back then, had a famous statement that up to 5 computers will be enough for the planet. Guess what? We had to transform. We had 2000s, we had the age of internet, age of devices, of mobility. So we're transforming from product company, so Windows, Office, whatever, into a services company, and this is a completely new thing. So the new mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. I'm not sure why we're scoping only for the planet, but let's say, okay, for the next 40 years, let's do the planet. Then we can extend to go broader. And how we plan to do it, we have these 3, we call it interconnected ambitions on the right side. We want to help people and businesses reinvent productivity and business processes. We want to build intelligent cloud platform, not just any cloud, but the intelligent one, I'll try to explain, and create more personal computing. So using those 3, we plan to drive the digital transformation. So interconnected ambitions, as I said, more personal computing, building the intelligent cloud, reinventing productivity and business process, drive into digital transformation. So our review on digital transformation as a framework, we go into 4 areas of activity. So as I focus mostly on public sector, this is a public sector version. You will see it's a framework. You can easily adopt it to a commercial. So in the section of engage your citizens, it would be engage your customer if you're a commercially driven company. Transform your service. It can be a product. So transform your product, transform your business. Those are the external. This is the external face of a company, of the enterprise. Empower your employees is to help your people be more productive, work on the road, from the field, at home, at the office at the end of the day, if you still go there, and optimize your operations, optimize the business process. The resulting system is what we would like to call the system of intelligence, as opposed to a system of record where the IT technology is traditionally used in companies. Systems of record being document management systems, archives, payrolls. Those are all necessary for the company to operate, and we can help accelerate, automate the process. But what we want is to build stuff that helps us transform, so the system of intelligence, to innovate and to accelerate. When we connect all of this together, we have the 3 interconnected ambitions and the framework for digital transformation. So this is a Microsoft view. So what does it have to do with cities? And why do we talk about digital transformation so much? And this is, again, a quote that many people consider digitalization as the next industrial revolution. So from steam engines, and then electricity, and then electronics, we are now changing. Everything becomes digital, and again, going back to Darwinian theory, only those who are the fittest will survive. And this is a quote from MIT Sloan, if you don't see the small letters, because we have to quote the sources. So MIT Sloan, how digital leaders outperform their peers. And you have 2 axes. One is the leadership capability, so this is what we want to build, and also the digital capability. So those companies that are low on leadership but high on digital are quoted as fashionistas, because it's cool to be digital, but we don't have this leadership quality. And you can see they succeed in revenue. They exceed the average revenue by 6%, but profitability is low. And where most commercial companies want to be is digital masters. So it's to lead and to innovate with digital. Market value is rising, profitability. You have heard examples of Kodak, of Netflix. Another example we often use is Uber, a company with no physical assets. They don't own any cars. They have a good idea. They have an army of lawyers, and they have a mobile app, and they do shared economy. So you need a car, you don't buy it, you just ping Uber a driver, somebody picks you up. Their market value was like 58 billion last time I checked. It took General Motors 100 years to reach 50 billion. And they do produce a lot of cars. So think about it. So it's not about having huge assets, factories all over the place, franchises, whatnot, armies of salesmen, and a lot of products, physical products. It's selling your idea, cashing on your idea. And by the way, Netflix beat Blockbuster, not on the revenues of renting videos, but Blockbuster was earning the most from late fees. So you forget to bring back your DVD or VHS tape when I was young, and you pay a late fee. You didn't watch the movie? Yeah, maybe another day, I know I have this fee. So you don't pay $5 for a rental, you pay 15. With Netflix, with streaming, you don't have late fees. You just watch it and that's it. So with Netflix getting into game, they didn't steal the revenue of watching videos. They stole the revenue of late fees that Blockbuster was living from. They didn't see it coming. So this is like a dinosaur. They didn't know. What's our excuse? If there is a meteorite coming, what's our excuse? Anyway, going back to CityNext. CityNext, as Damir said, is Microsoft's attempt to build a platform and to build a framework how to engage in public sector using technology to empower leadership of the cities and citizens. And I take city as a good example because in public sector we basically have 4 distinct verticals. We focus either on government or on public safety, national security, where also justice is. And then we have education, and then we have healthcare. So those are the 4 major verticals of public sector as we see it. But with CityNext, we have a cross-section. So because in a city, you have all of those functions. So I took it as a good example. Then cities are where the action is, not only will be. Some rough statistics, 2% of the planet is covered by cities, 80% of GDP comes from these 2%. It's a good data point. Some predictions, 6.5 billion people will live in cities by 2050. That's 70% of expected population. Currently, we are at the moment where half of the human population lives in cities. So we are on this turning point, and we expect this to grow. And then when you live in a city, what happens? You have access to some kind of Generation C, so you have to be connected. There's a broadband, there's wireless, there is wire, if somebody remembers those cables running around. And then it says, I think this is a very modest prediction, 60% of citizens will have access to smart devices. 40% will lie that they don't have access to smart devices. Anyway, what happens when you use a smart device? You generate a lot of data, volumes and volumes of data. So what do we do? Is it a problem? For IT guys, it's like, oh, nightmare. we see it as an opportunity. So maybe you have heard, I have colleagues that often use the quote, data is the new oil. I'm not sure I get it fully, but okay, oil you need to locate, you need to mine, you need to refine to produce a petrochemical product that you will sell. So having just an oil is not enough, but it's a good foundation. Having data is not enough. You have to turn the data into information. You have to put it in a context, in a time bound, to put a meaning. Then data becomes information. Then information, when used properly, becomes knowledge, and then knowledge becomes wisdom. But again, I'm going into evolutionary theory. So I'll go back. Some typical challenges of a city, if we talk as a city, we can apply to any type of a community, social community, is how we employ the young people. So people tend to live longer and retire later, so that we need new jobs to fill the workforce. Housing shortages, of course. We have people moving into the cities. Energy consumption is huge. Cities consume, again, I think 80% of the energy produced. I thought the industry would consume a little bit more, but actually it's the places we live in, not the places we work in. Infrastructure is old. Traffic becomes nightmare if any of you visited. I know some people say Sofia has a bad traffic, but if you go to Cairo or to Hyderabad in India or to Tokyo, then you will see, or LA. I've been to all those places, it's scary. And I didn't like driving in Sofia, I'm honest. So, traffic control. Aging demographics. People tend to live longer, they retire later. When they retire, again they live longer, we have to pay their retirement. So it's financial impacts of evolution. But let's turn that into opportunities. So yeah, we have all these challenges. On the other side, we have technology that should be there to help us. So the bigger density of the population is, the service delivered is more efficient. So you can optimize your cost. Economic opportunities are amazing because denser the population, the bigger the potential market. So all those startups that come up with an idea have an opportunity to place it in let's say, in a lucrative market. Energy management, a topic also we focus on because we can save a lot. So it says 30% we can reduce energy consumption, retrofitting the existing buildings with the modern technologies. Additional 20% we can add through building in a green way, so the green buildings. Safety, through different kinds of either surveillance, reporting, early reporting, response management. Economies of scale, so as we globalize, as the markets rise, and we have millennials as Generation Y coming into workforce, and soon Generation C joining us after that. This is a little bit of a parallel. The world went crazy recently with those fitness trackers. I don't know if you use those Fitbits or Nike bands and so on, but this is the analogy. You have a device that measures your heart rate, the number of steps you take, the number of steps you climbed, the distance, the weather, the perspiration, the UV indexes, cross-reference it with your age, with your sex, with your weight, and then provide some kind of statistics. What we did, again, this is basically every modern smartphone has these functions, even measuring your heart rate. If you press your finger on a flash, it can flash and read your changes in color of your finger, or Samsung devices have it built in. Anyway, so you have a device, you have a data from the citizen, you aggregate this data, analyze, and you can do advanced analytics, improve your diagnosis. We're moving into preventative healthcare, because we don't want to, the most difficult is to treat the people who already got sick. So there is a lot of investment and thinking going into preventative. So take this analogy of a person with a fitness tracker and map it to the city. So how do we listen to the pulse of the city? Think sensors, think noise pollution, think air pollution, think video streams. How to harvest all this data, turn it into information, make it actionable, make a decision, and influence the quality of life. So this is where we are trying to make this into a parallel. So capture the data, store it safely, analyze, propose a solution, or act. Here we have some interesting examples. For the sake of time, you will get a presentation later. Those are all clickable links to case studies, to videos. And then just to clarify on the Internet of Things. So the Internet of Things, when we talk about IoT, in short, it's not about Internet of PCs and cell phones and pagers or big devices. It's talking about connecting everything to the net. connecting a refrigerator, connecting a washing machine, connecting a sensor with no intelligence, just capturing certain amount of data. So those are these data points going beyond smart devices, smart kitchen appliances. So already you have, cookers or fridges that can automatically order, I'm having a party, you put it on the app on the phone, the oven heats up for a certain recipe, and the fridge says you're out of eggs. Would you like me to order some from Amazon, for example? And then it comes. The drone flies in and drops it on your door, and your account is charged automatically. So it's already happening. So we go beyond. So we look at those sensors. We go, how do we capture all this data, get insights, optimize the way we do stuff, and engage with our citizens and provide a service where citizen is, and at every time, not only between 7:30 and 3:30 with 2 gaps from 10 to 11, you come uninformed, you don't know what you need to bring with you, and they send you back. Okay, now, of course, people will say, yeah, but it's risky, it's all this data, is it personal, do I want the city to know my whereabouts? So we build what we call a trusted platform. So, of course, we take it very seriously. We want to provide possibility to businesses, to communities, to capture and store any type of data on any type of platform. This is a new Microsoft I'm talking about. A few years ago, it was Microsoft or else. Now you can use Microsoft apps on any device, on Android device, on iPhone, and also we interoperate with all of the other platforms. So any data on any platform from any location, because we're now all connected, and from any source of this data, but we think about security, privacy, compliance, transparency. And there is a huge investment, and there is the whole teams, again, like Uber has the army of lawyers. And what we also want to enable is that we're not working in a green field. We're not working in a lab. So every city, every community, every system has some kind of a legacy software, legacy application. So we want to use what's existing and build on top. So this is kind of a symbolic, either legacy infrastructure from the information perspective, or a solution or some data that already lives in a system. So we want to build on top. So all of those floating islands with emergency response, with house care, with city dashboards for city managers, for whatnot, smart buildings, we want to drop them and connect them to the existing operational infrastructure. Symbolically, we want to build bridges to the future. On one side, use what you have, and then innovate at your own pace. So this is the principle. And this is what we call the eye chart. When you go to the eye doctor and they say you read last row on the right, so this is the eye chart slide. Alternatively, we call it the self-explanatory slide when it's too much. But what it shows is basically on the left-hand side, these 5 categories is basically the smart city framework. So this is how we engage with city as a society. So we focus on digital cities, and then we have for government administrators, for tourism, recreation, culture, whatnot, series of solutions. Those are some of those, not all of them. Safer cities, we focus on public safety, emergency response, firefighting, police. So on healthier cities is how we monitor the health of the city and of the citizen, and then educated cities and sustainable cities. In sustainability, we mostly focus on 3 areas: transportation, so traffic optimization, energy and water management, and then building and infrastructures from the construction standpoint. All of those 5 areas of a CityNext framework live or can exist on a trusted cloud platform provided by us or by our partners. We have a few partners. I just listed the most interesting one here. Joke, it's like 300 certified partners that have a solution that aligns with the CityNext framework. We have 35,000 partners worldwide. We expect more of those images to appear. And then there is a lot of examples of the projects that we did, either citizen services, enabling electronic services for the citizen, where serve the citizen where citizen is, or internally facing services to optimize the operation of a city management. So either a city dashboard for some kind of monitoring. On safety front, we have this intelligence-led first response where we can, for example, time permitting, I can show you the noise pollution analysis of city of New York, the Manhattan area, where you can filter, you can see the noise levels, but you can also filter on type of noise. One type of noise includes a gunshot. So there is a high probability or possibility for an emergency service to know that somebody was shooting before police gets involved, so they can proactively respond. You can, of course, see the loud music, drilling, construction works, and whatnot. Healthier cities, again, so the population health management or remote care, so providing nurses that go and or even make a doctor consultation remotely over Skype, over whatever, WhatsApp, if you prefer, without having to go either dispatch a nurse to visit a patient or patient to visit nurse. Education, again, this is for the educators and for the students, so school performance management, the top line, and then the bottom line of solution is business of school, because you have to run a school as a school administrator. So you have to procure the heating, you have repairs, you have to buy chairs, whatnot. So we have solutions targeted at education students and as a management, and then what I already mentioned, the building energy management, analytics, smart grids on the distribution, and then on the traffic management, parking management, fleet management. Interesting story, I will tell you in a second. So just to close up, we are all over the place. All of those are, again, YouTube videos. We have a City Next YouTube channel. It's very accessible. It's easy to find, but those are the case studies of the customers we did some project with already. And then to close, we want to build the bridge to the future. We have a technology, we have solutions, we have partners working with us, and we need to work together to shape the city's future. You will find also in the deck some examples. These are links. Glasgow is a huge reference, so they are providing the open data. So you have the cycling maps, sustainability maps, stalled spaces. This is interesting. Those are the undeveloped areas that are not being used currently, but they could not be repurposed, so they do the different temporary art projects, for example. So this is connecting to our next speakers. This is New York City Situation Awareness Dashboard. This is predicting the traffic. So this is what we did for City of Dubai. There is a huge initiative, Smart City Dubai, and they wanted to predict the traffic on the date of an event connected with historical data and the weather forecast. So for that we use what we call the cognitive services or machine learning. And this is also for the data scientists. And this is my favorite quote from Arthur C. Clarke. And it says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And this is what Apple, our big competitor and partner, depends how we look at it, they use it a lot. And there is a slight modification. A guy leading the Microsoft innovation for the whole Microsoft company, he says disappears. His name is Harry Shum, or Shum. Disappears in the context of not that it will not exist anymore, but it will disappear from the site. You will not be aware of the technology. You will not be burdened by technology. You will only have the magical effect of technology working for you. So this is, let's say, in the next 10 or 20 years where I would want to see this company grow. Thank you. And we can continue later with some examples in discussion.
Okay, that was interesting, and I know that you'll have quite a lot of questions regarding the presentations until now. We'll just have the third presentation, and then we will open the panel for questions towards all three presenters. Now we have the guys and girls from Podležno that will be talking about how they're changing their city, or what they're doing to change the city where they live. Guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mitko, and this is Yuli, and this is Emo over there. We're Podležno, and even though what we do is not that connected to technology as your previous guests, as members of Generation C, we pretty much make use of technology a lot in what we do. We will make you like our Facebook page later and all that. We use QR codes and all that. But before we tell you what we do, we would like to ask you how many of you have gone through a deserted space in where you live, like an abandoned street or anything, and have thought like, I'm pretty unsafe here, maybe messaging somebody, come and get me, or any of that. Have you come across any of that at all? Okay.
Please raise hands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty common problem on the Balkans, we think. At least in Sofia it is. Maybe Macedonia too, and all your countries, maybe. So what we do, will tell you Yuli now.
Yeah, I have one question for you also. Have you ever volunteered for something? Please raise your hands.
Yay.
Whoa, very nice,
Wow.
impressive. We're lucky to be here. So, we are Podlesno. This is a game of words in Bulgarian. It means that we want to be useful for our underpasses, the pedestrian underpasses that you use to cross the huge boulevards. What we do exactly is very simple. We renovate the underpasses in a creative way. We are a small group of people, and 3 years ago we met at a forum called We Are the Ideas, where in the team called Urban Environment, we discussed different problems of our environment. There are a lot of places in Sofia, and not just in Sofia, in all our cities, that are in very bad condition. They're dirty, they're ugly, they're dark and unsafe. The municipality and the people don't work enough to keep them in a good shape. But we had to choose one problem to focus on. What we wanted to do is to have an impact and to show a good example. And we thought that the best way to do it is to have one very defined public space. We chose exactly the pedestrian underpasses because we have ourselves some bad experience, and we very often see people crossing the very busy boulevards, even with their children, instead of going through an underpass because they just consider it unsafe.
Yep, as you can see, the solution we came up with is to renovate those spaces in a cultural manner. We wanted and did involve culture and art in those spaces, made them lighter. Our motto is let's break the darkness together. And we have 4 projects. Our first one is called Zagore, and it's a relatively small underpass. It's a bit humble from our perspective now, but at the time it was a major breakthrough because that type of thing had never happened before, especially for those directions of these parts of the municipality that are responsible for the underpasses. They didn't let us paint on the walls then. We just did those, cleaned the scribbles off the walls and did these panels that are nature themed. Each underpass has a theme with us. This one was nature. And we did these funny bubbles. We made some benches for people to sit, clean the scribbles off the walls, and basically we had a lot of volunteers come in and help us as well. We are all doing it for charity. We're not getting any money from it. The mayor of Sofia, Ms. Jordanka Fadankova, came in and cut the ribbon. And it's basically almost intact for 2 years now. There are some scribbles in the walls between the panels, but the panels themselves are untouched, and people like them and preserve them. And when they go through the underpass and meet us, they greet us for what we've done, and really like the place now. Our second project was a big revolution for us. It was musically themed. Yuli here passed through the underpass and saw this street musician playing. And we thought that, and there was also a musical academy nearby. We thought that music is something universal, which we could do. We got permission to paint on the walls, paint on the stairs. We made them like a piano. We had some graffiti artists come in and paint the walls. We did various installations made out of wood, out of some recycled tapes you're gonna hear about in a bit. And there was also this musical instrument made out of pipes that you can play with your flip-flops or credit cards or anything you have in you, basically. And the children can learn the musical notes on it. Our next project was a graffiti-themed underpass. We met a lot of very talented graffiti artists, over 20 graffiti artists that we invited to participate. And they did various graffiti murals in the underpass. The theme was time travel. It's a bit abstract, so everybody could do their own interpretation of that. Some did Old Sufia, some did some futuristic stuff, and everybody could express themselves however they liked. This one is the most impressive one, I think. It glows in the dark because we installed UV lights above it, and it's very impressive. For our last project, we just finished a couple of days ago. We still have paint on ourselves from it. It's keeping the theme. We like the musical underpass, so we kept those kind of themes. We decided that film is another big theme that everybody likes, all the generations. It sort of bridges the gap between the older generation and the young one. Yeah, there was like an older part, which is black and white, and a newer one with newer movies, American cinema vs like European cinema and Bulgarian cinema. There were 4 categories of the movies we chose: Bulgarian, European cinema, American, and animation for the kids. And it's as well, it was very popular with the media and the people passing through. Also, the young people and the old people as well loved it and still keep it, and yeah, like it.
And you can see now, this is the
Yep.
very interesting part of our project. When you go to one side of this underpass, you can see one picture, and when you turn back and go the other side, you can see the next one. And this is very impressive. Everybody thought that this was our best project by now, but we have a lot more ideas. Probably you're thinking how we do all this. I would like to ask you once again something. You're all from some kind of organizations. How many of your organizations have a hierarchical structure? Please raise your hands.
It's like a
Hierarchy, so you have
leader.
a
and
president, a board that has the decision making and members.
Yep,
Okay.
most of it.
And how many of your organizations have flat structures? Okay, just
That's
2.
many.
3, okay, perfect. Well, we are flat as a pancake. Even we are not an organization. You heard already that we are an informal group. We're just a few people gathered together, and we make our decisions as a unit. Of course, we are very different. We are urban planners, architects, landscape architects,
And
movie
me.
director, and a PR. So we are very different, and our approaches are very different towards the environment. So we argue a lot, but we argue as friends, and we argue in the means to have the best ideas at the final stage. So we make our decisions by consensus, and probably this is one of the best things with us, because finally the ideas evolve and develop, and we have the greatest ideas using this method. We can't do everything by ourselves. Of course, as volunteers, we need some financing. We are very glad at first, because in fact we are very scared that we won't find any financing, and as an informal group it was very hard at the beginning in Bulgaria. But we met some very nice ladies from the municipality, from one of the districts there, that believe in us and took the risk to help us. By the end of our first project, they're very thrilled and glad that they did it. So they started their own program to finance more and more informal groups with small projects in our environment. This was very huge in Bulgaria the first time it was made. Our second project was financed by, we won a competition in fact, to be financed by the Fund for Innovations in Culture. And together with them, we developed a model to work the municipality with the citizens together. And this model was recognized in the European level as a best practice just a few months ago. The next project was also as a part of competition. We won another competition of the municipality. And finally, our last project is sponsored by the private sector. But what is very interesting, probably, have you heard of crowdfunding? Okay, you're all okay with the concept? Okay. This is something that is just starting to develop in Bulgaria. And we used two platforms. There are two platforms for crowdfunding in Bulgaria. We used both of them, and we actually work one for another. They help us raise money, and we help them to be more popular. So there is this cooperation which is happening also. And I was very, very glad to meet one of the representatives of the Ministry of Youth and Sports in Bulgaria, just this Tuesday in the huge opening of our underpass, who told me, "You're very great. I'm following you since 1 year and a half or something. And we developed by your model a program, a national program to finance informal groups." So for us, this is really huge. About the municipality, you can see that there is a development in their perception and their attitude towards some citizens who just want to help. We were invited a few times to work with the municipality. And also, this is the reason why we were invited from the student councils to do another project. It is a bit different. It's not very artistic, but it involves the urban environment. There is a neighborhood in Sofia where all the student dormitories are located in. It's called Studenski Grad. And there is a huge problem because the lights, the street lights, don't work. So we did this survey together, and we gave it to the municipality. They promised us to resolve this problem by the end of this year, so cross your fingers. Of course, we have a lot of partners and friends, some NGOs, some just other organizations, the businesses, etc. We have more than 200 volunteers by now. We use Facebook, of course, social media, and there are some platforms to gather charity and volunteers in Bulgaria that are developing right now. So we are very glad to use them. And we, step by step, are connecting a lot of organizations together in a network. So in this network, we want to do a lot of projects together, because together we are more powerful and we will be heard. So this is something we are going to develop in the future also.
So with our work, we've achieved a lot of impact in the media and in the people themselves. We've been invited to a lot of TV shows, and we've been in all three major medias in Bulgaria and a lot of more smaller ones, televisions. We've been on the radio, various radios, written press and all that. People are very interested in what we do. And also, it's not that we care that much about that, but we also can see that the perception of people themselves changes when we do our projects. We do those surveys before we do each underpass, and after that. And before each underpass, people are a bit skeptical. They don't think it's going to last. They don't think people are going to keep it, that it's so, for nothing. But after we did it, and after most of our underpasses have been untouched for 2 or 3 years now, People are beginning to change and to think that they need to be more active, to need that the urban environment is theirs to keep and to develop, and that we as an informal group did it, so they can do it as well. And you can do it as well in your country, in your city. It's not nobody stops you from changing what you don't like. We also do various projects to keep the life in those forgotten spaces after we do them.
For example, as a part of each of our projects, we do some recycling, or perhaps reusing is the better word here. For example, we had this campaign last year for recycling some old audio cassettes, CDs, etc. And people from all Bulgaria started to bring us packages of their old information carriers, so that we would use them into our underpass, and also as a part of children workshops. And children very loved to draw on them and to make them as a present.
We've also done a few different stuff. We did shoot a music video in our underpass, musical underpass. You're going to see it at the end if we have time. It basically shows the working process that in the underpass, and the finished underpass is used as a background for the video where we play. I sing, Ivailo from our team plays the guitar. Yuli did a little dance, which we did a little flash mob and a concert in the park. There's also pictures of that. And we try to keep those places alive because we're young, we're fun, we have ideas. And when we show young people that volunteering is fun, that it's something that they can do, and it's not formal, it's not something they have to do, but it's something that broadens the horizons, they see it and respond to that. And that's the most important part, to bring life to the dead spaces.
We want to keep all this, but we also want to become an NGO and do some professional stuff. Almost every one of our partners wanted us to help them make their interior or exterior. So this is going to be our future, perhaps. And we also want to expand our network, perhaps in the international level. So if you have any ideas or if you want just to discuss how it is done, we are open to discussion later. And now these are our contacts. And now please enjoy the video of our first song.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you can see the whole thing in internet if you like. It's called Nyakui Mikaza. It's on Kyriak, but if you type Podlesno, you can find it through our page or YouTube channel. So, yeah, thanks. Oh, and you can vote for it. It's on the radio chart now. It's a number 4 we didn't even know. So you can vote and make it number 1.
Woo. Great. So, what we got, even though the presentations were so different and touched different stuff and different issues, what we see, what is the underlining thing, is connectivity. What we are moving towards is connectivity and utilizing what we already have, just to use it more effectively and more efficiently. Now we have time. We have like 45 minutes for questions. So we'll get 3 questions from the audience. We'll let the panelists answer them and then go 3 questions and so on and so forth. So the floor is yours. I know that you've been waiting for this moment. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. For those who do not know me, my name is Damir Dimitrov, the United Nations Youth Delegate of Bulgaria. First, I want to thank all the presenters for the impactful session that they brought and delivered. Second, I want to congratulate Dimitar from Podlesno for being the most inspiring rock star I have met here in Kruševo. And third, I want to also ask the guys and girls from Podlesno to clarify a bit if I got it correctly. So their project started 3 years ago when they, without knowing each other, met during a conference, 3-day-long conference, very similar like this one, and came up with a concrete idea for a project that is sustainable, 3 years old, and transforming the city of Sofia and inspiring people, bringing them together. Very similar example through what we are having here, through what we want to come up with, and through the way we want to shape and transform the Balkans. Maybe I got it wrongly, maybe I got it correctly. You will give me the answer, all of you, later. Thank you.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I hope all the others saw it. Some other questions and comments. Okay, we have a question in the back and then here in the front.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I was really happy to. I was really happy to hear the last presentation, because what I've got from the first 2 was that all we need is this digital development. We need technology. We need to be greater and bigger, and the fittest has to survive. And I think it's the right track. Of course, we have to develop. We have to follow this digital revolution. It might lead to a next, the digital transformation. But what I'm always a little worried about is the impact it has on the social interaction of people, especially concerning, how do I phrase this? So what I'm concerned about are 2 places. First of all, that it leaves out people who do not have the access to technology. For example, people in rural areas, in not so developed areas. This is why I was so happy about your presentation, to see, okay, there is still real life things going on. Second thing I'm worried about is how we can make sure that there is some kind of legal regulations so it doesn't get out of hand. You mentioned it already in your presentation to say there is, of course, this safe cloud, but still I think there must be some political measurements, maybe. I don't know. I would be very happy about clarification on that part. Thank you.
Well, my answer will be short. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Dimitar. We met at a format which is very similar of this one, but I'm sorry. And we think that when young people meet in a conference, in a forum or something, there's a lot of energy, and this energy must be gathered and just focused on some project. So if you have the chance to came up with an idea together and to realize it afterwards, do it, because it is really this energy that will lead the change in the world.
Good. So I can answer I'll try to answer your question. So on the first point, I agree, but we can agree to disagree, hopefully. So this is not about technology, it's about using the technology in a transparent manner. So the best technology is that one you're not aware of. So this is let's say the primary point, the technology should be an enabler, not a restrictor. And as you said, in the rural areas, of course, it will take some time for the technology to reach them, but we don't want to be exclusive to those lucky and wealthy to live in the cities. I took city just as an example with a good, let's say, a good cross-section of all the efforts we're doing. But the key focus is on use the existing technology, enable more people to use the technology, and at the end of the day, if those people that are lucky to have the access to technology can serve themselves in a better manner, it will leave a public servant more time to serve those without the access. But on the other hand, we also want to provide access to basically everybody. So there are multiple initiatives. This is not Microsoft exclusive. We have initiatives in the region working with schools, working with local telcos to enable schools the connectivity, wireless connectivity, or connectivity between schools. Maybe Georgi might know something a little bit more. There is my compatriot from Macedonia in Microsoft. On the other hand, there was a security topic. Yeah, this is definitely a hot topic. It's again not only for Microsoft. We are one of the three hyperscale vendors, so-called. So you have Google, you have Amazon, and Microsoft providing cloud services. All of us, and medium tier, smaller tier, there's a lot of solution partners, hosters, that basically what we're trying to do is to liberate organizations from the, let's say, locking investment into technology, building data center, buying hardware, so we can operate it for them, and the businesses or public services should focus on their outcomes. So don't worry about technology. It's a locked capital. It's, there is a very short turnover cycle. You need to refresh the hardware. We're already doing it. We can provide it as a service. Think electricity. So 100 years ago, if a factory wanted to operate on electricity, they would build a power plant for them. Today, you just flip the switch. So we see the time is near where the information technology will be a utility. You flip a switch, you use it for a social benefit, like these guys here. So you don't have to think about how do I create a crowdsourcing platform. You go out and choose a crowdsourcing platform and use it. And how do I promote my activities? You go to YouTube, you go to Facebook, and you publish yourself. So this is the analogy. And on the regulatory side, all the companies, all the mega vendors, hyper vendors, we're working with authorities on regulating and deregulating where necessary. For example, Microsoft provides cloud services to government of United States on their terms. So we have agreed. With European Union, we have ongoing negotiations. Most of the European Union requirements are met already. Some of the countries wanted a special treatment, so we flexibly provided. So for example, Deutsche Telekom is Microsoft partner to provide cloud services to German citizens because they have special regulation. In some cases, we are pushing for deregulation. For example, a lot of investment funds that are coming are still limited, let's say, in a traditional manner. It has to be the capital investment. It has to be capex. You need to buy something. And this is where we are hitting the wall, because we don't want people to spend money on buying stuff they don't need. They need a service the stuff provides. We have this stuff. We can provide the service. The problem is the model. This is the traditional accounting, you know, what kind of ledger will you use, blah. But we have teams working with European Union, with country representatives in how we can accelerate this, because transformation. And this is for the colleague in the back. Maybe I'm stealing too much of the time, but the necessity of the necessity of the transformation, the awareness is there. So this is what we see in the commercial environments. The awareness is there. Even Jack Welch is, you know, the old guy. He says, you know, if you don't transform, you will disappear. So it's good for the business to be on the edge in the commercial sector. In the public sector, there is a little bit of hesitation, but we see good traction there. And again, this is about the change in the workforce. Younger people are coming into the workforce. You have your own ways of doing stuff. When I was younger, I thought mail was cool. And fax was, you know, can you fax me? No, I will send you an email. We don't know emails. You have to learn. This was my conversation with the bank 10 years ago. And now when I talk to younger guys and I say, can you send me an email? They're like my cousin's girlfriend. They're like 10, 15 years younger than me. It's like, what? Can you send me this, you know, those photos you took? Can you send me an email? She was like, you don't do Facebook? Well, I do, but I don't know how you know. You can send me pictures over Facebook, so not everybody will see it. So this is just this shift. And so we see in the commercial sector, the awareness is there, the desire is there. And the commercial companies, they know they have to digitally transform. Public, little bit different, but we are getting some progress. Maybe some evolution.
Yes. Actually, first of all, I would like to answer about cloud security. And from business perspective, I mean, how businesses consider cloud security. It's a big issue. And in my opinion, whenever I go to a customer and they tell me, okay, we will put everything on cloud, is this secure? I tell them, is it really security the proper word? I mean, are you afraid that, for instance, my startup, Pobuka, is hosted in Microsoft Azure? And I tell them, are you really afraid that a hacker is going to hack Microsoft? Or are they going to try to hack Microsoft if they try to hack you and your servers? They will not succeed in this and they will succeed with Microsoft. They tell me, no, it's not a matter of hackers. So it's not security, it's trust. Trust is the magic word. Do you trust Microsoft to have your data? Or is it, do you have a fear that they are going to misuse your data? And you mentioned before that should the government make some regulatory and and make some laws about it. Do you trust Microsoft and Google more or your government? This is a big question. I don't have an answer, really. I don't have an answer. And although, of course, I'm doing business with Microsoft for 16 years, and I know that they are very trustworthy. And I know that, I know that they have the best, the enterprise level of security and regulations in their data centers. But still, it's a matter of trust. I mean, you need to build trust to a private company, and this is something that we are not used to. Even though they may be more trustworthy than governments. It might be that case. Anyway, about the other question, of course we try to hire the Generation C, but I think that the biggest asset in the employee of the future is to be able to change. Because I've seen that there are some people, we have some employees in their 50s, that they can change faster than guys in their 20s. So I think that there is no more a matter of age. I mean, it's not something that you learned 10 years ago and it's going to be the same for the next 20 years. So we need guys from in their mid-20s that are familiar with the new technologies. Is people that have been educated in a way, or they have the natural talent, it's biology again now, that they can change easily and transform their skills and their mindset to everything, to the things that, to the new things that evolve and the new things that technology brings. That's what I could say about it.
First, First, I wanted to thank to the speakers and to the very inspiring speeches. And second, I had a question for you, Mr. Stojkovic. What about all this connection and the data that is collected, and especially the technology disappearing, so people not knowing that there is technology behind something and data about themselves? Does it take our freedom away of our freedom of choice, or does it give us a fake choice? And there it goes also to Mr. Sideridis. If I choose not to follow these, am I doomed to perish then in this new world?
Hello, my name is Albesa. My question is about, I have a question about the online reality and live reality. To me, it's very concerning when I organize debates as a youth leader and people are texting and not being there for the debate, which I see as a consequence of this Darwinism of technology that you mentioned before. So my question would be that, isn't it that technology is a service that we created for our needs? So should it fit our needs rather than us fitting to technology that we're talking so far? And I was wondering if inside Microsoft or the companies that you work, do you have any mechanism that helps to balance out these issues? And generally, I would like to hear your feedback on these points. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question for Mr. Alexander. I'm Philip from Croatia, and I'm interested, like we saw like smart cities like Glasgow, what's going on there, and like in the Western Europe, like in Paris and also in Berlin. But that's another word for us from the Balkans. And what I know that Balkan cities doesn't have money, that do not have money for like implementation of such a technology into the like public service into the towns. But what can like Balkans cities like do like to move to these smart cities? Like what are some small steps, or like how to prepare the ground for this step forward?
So I can start from the back. Those big examples, those are the big lighthouse wins we did in the past 5-10 years and so on. Good thing about it is that we learn from those projects, and then we can more quickly and easily replicate, and we can do those projects in a selective manner. So we don't need to build the whole structure to build a simple solution. We can just take a simple solution using the existing cloud infrastructure. So this is how we can replicate those experiences in the region, and this is what we're actually doing now with several cities or governments in the region. I'm working for more than a year with the government of Albania on implementing electronic services for the citizens. They have made an amazing progress. So, Georgi, correct me if I'm wrong. The plan is to have full 600 electronic services available by the end of the calendar year. So 600 out of the 700 services that government provides to citizens, whether it's license registration, paying your tax, getting your school grades, whatnot. So they started 3 years ago, let's say, building the infrastructure. Now we're focusing on providing the service. Similar thing we have for example, in Serbia. We're a little bit behind, honestly, I have to say. Yes, there is more complexity and so on. We had, let's say, put it this way, we had more legacy systems in Serbia that we need to integrate. We just cannot rip and replace, but we need to integrate them. In Albania, we had, let's say, a greener field, so we can start building from scratch. But they also did amazing progress in healthcare, automating healthcare, automating tax processing. which is a huge benefit for the government of Albania. There is a lot of Microsoft technology involved, but it's not exclusive, so there is also other vendors in play there, of course, and we respect that. So this is what we can do. Also, again, minimizing the investment in building a city data center, using what we can use, especially for the open data, the data that should be accessible to the public. There is no privacy concern. We are working with the local telcos in Serbia to provide anonymized location data, for example, so the city can better forecast the traffic congestions. Another way City of Belgrade is engaging in these initiatives is that we have joined as a city. We have joined the initiative called the 100 Resilient Cities. I wanted to put it in a slide, but we already started. So 100RC or 100resilientcities.org. It's a foundation driven by Rockefeller Foundation with 100 cities working. So this is like Microsoft tried to provide a platform, smart city, with a framework, with partners, with solutions on our technology. Rockefeller is doing similar, but multi-vendor, multi-solution, multi-city. And they also want to foster this city-to-city communication. So for example, through this program, we have just met with the recently appointed city resilience officer. So this is a new role for the city of Belgrade. So we are working with Mr. Goran in defining the resiliency strategy from the information perspective, what we can do. Of course, his job is to define resiliency from, flooding, weather, earthquakes, whatnot. So it's more than technology. Of course, we are helping where we can. These consulting engagements on top level, they're basically sponsored by Rockefeller, and then we have Siemens, Microsoft, and other technology vendors supplying our portfolio of solutions through the program. So these are the two ways, either participating in this and there is a lot of cross-border sharing happening. So we're now kicking off next week. There is the first, let's say, open forum on the city resiliency with the topic of mobility. And we will have, again, multiple cities, representatives, multiple vendors, solution providers coming too. So this is on that question. On the topic, on the first question, topic of privacy, that's about security. We know that stuff. That's like what we do for a living. Trust is what we have to do because, as colleagues said, would you trust? You need to trust a vendor that provides a service with something. Do you trust Microsoft more than Google? I don't know. I don't mind. So I have services provided by Google, and I have services provided by Microsoft. I momentarily work in Microsoft, but it doesn't influence my user opinion. So trust is a key for commercial vendors because if we lose trust once, we lose the whole business. And Microsoft is a multi-$100 billion business. And we put everything, we're betting everything on cloud, on the online services. So we cannot allow to have any shadow of a doubt that we are abusing the data. This is speaking from the top, it's a big business. It's a $200 billion business. So trust is a key. Privacy is up to the user. So the data that we talk about, it's your data, so it's not our data. You can keep it in our data center. It's still your data. Our administrators do not have access to this data because we have special security controls. Actually, our data centers have no stuff. They're automated. There is no access. So there is no physical tampering probability. And from the information perspective, we can filter and monitor. It's not like the angry email administrator leaving the company and then he reads emails of all the bosses and blah. So this is 80s. So this is not happening anymore. So this is what we have to do. I'm not saying that it's morally right or wrong. I hear a lot of comparisons, especially my colleagues higher up, when they compare Microsoft and Google in privacy. We say we charge for our services because we sell you the service. Google does not charge for their service because they sell you to others. So we always said that our customers are not our products. It's not fully technically right because, again, Google does not sell you. They might sell your data to third parties, but again, anonymized. Have you ever wondered if you browse? I visited Albania a few weeks ago and I come back and I see these commercials popping up in Albanian because Google knows I was there. And okay, it's a nuisance, but I dismiss those ads. I don't click. If I clicked, somebody would make money. Because Google knows who am I and where I was traveling and what are my interests. But on the other hand, Google Now is a very useful service. By the way, we have in Microsoft, we have a lady service called Cortana. So any gamers here know Halo games. Cortana lives in the head of Master Chief. Anyway, it lives in Windows 10 computers. It's a personal assistant, and it's very convenient because Google Now tells me, you know what? You have this meeting at 10 a.m. because she reads my calendar. Because there is some construction going on at the highway, and you have to pass there to Sofia office. I advise you start 1 hour early, and it's a very convenient. It's again how much privacy I want to give away to get something back. And I don't mind, because this is a useful information. And you have all these privacy filters. They're a little bit more obscure with Google. You can also filter your privacy. With Microsoft, we're trying to be very transparent. So you can go to Cortana's notebook and uncheck all the things. Don't read my email. Don't read my calendar. Don't check my location. But then she will not be able to tell you, you have a meeting postponed, so what. So it's a balance. It's a balance of both. And again, I know especially with younger people, I consider myself young, although, my back tells me the opposite. Mostly, I'm a father of twins. I have 2 boys, 2.5 years old, bit of a late bloomer. So I feel this lack of youth in my back when I pick them up. So, but anyway, there is a lot of this, how do you call it, mesmerized by technology. And I think some of the vendors might be abusing it. Maybe Microsoft, maybe Apple is doing something. They have these like legions of followers. Like Apple they discontinued the headphone plug. Wow, that's the greatest design decision ever. What? Anyway, I think it will pass. I think we're just hypnotized by technology because it's the first quote I used. It's indistinguishable from magic. People love magical stuff. So you're constantly at your phones. What I did a few days ago, I just went out and bought a simple candy bar phone, Nokia with buttons. Not a smartphone, doesn't do email, just does hello by SMS. I just needed the time off. And I think this will wear off, this being hypnotized by technology. What I would like to see as perfect is this technology will be there to support us. It will disappear from sight. And as you said, if I don't play in, do I die out? I don't think. I think we can live off the grid. You can disconnect. You can still do stuff. It will be possible. Like in Scandinavia, in Sweden, I believe they're working on a project to ban cash. So you will have to use a credit card. They say that it will help them fight crime because, with cash you can do illegal payments, but then you lose the convenience of paying something without being tracked. So do you trust your government more or less? I don't know, this is a good thought. Maybe you would like to add something on the evolution.
So the big question, is technology good? Will technology harm our civilization, our way of living? And my answer is, when you mention technology, you don't think of technology that has disappeared already, but of the new technology that you understand that exists. What I mean, your glasses and my glasses are technology, but you don't think that they are technology. You take them for granted. I mean, you take them for granted that you can use something like glasses to see better. The pen you are using is technology. Actually, it's impossible for us to live without technology. We can't do it. And actually, I think it was 10 years ago that an American guy decided, he said, okay, I'm fed up with your technical civilization. I don't like your marketing stuff, your new iPhones, your technology. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to the forest and live on my own. And you know what happened after 2 months? He did so. What happened after 2 months? He died. He died. Actually, he was a bit crazy. I mean, he selected Alaska, not Hawaii, to go and live. And he went to Alaska for 2 months and he died. He couldn't eat. He couldn't drink water. He couldn't drink, I mean, the water he was drinking was polluted. It had microbes and viruses, and he died after 2 months. So we can't live without technology. what happens now? What happens in the late years is that we get waves of technology, and the way we live changes a lot because of technology. And sometimes we may be afraid because, 10 years ago we communicated through mobile phones and we thought that this is technology, and now we are using Facebook Messenger and Skype and Viber, and we had PSTN phones, and now we have mobile phones and smartphones, and all these changes are, in our lifetime, we have 10 or to 20 changes because of technology. I think that the problem is, all these changes is that the politicians are not ready yet to transform the societies in a way to adapt these technologies and make the changes that we should do in order to not have problems because of them. And now, I think that there are two turning points that we are going to face in the following years. One is when all the labor jobs will be replaced by robots. Truck drivers, taxi drivers, or anything. Uber drivers, and yes, or anything that has to do with farmers, anything that has to do with a labor job. This is a big turning point because some people need to change the way they live, the way they make money. And of course, the biggest turning point that I have no idea how we are going to handle with this is when artificial intelligence start to produce wealth, which means when Siri or Cortana will build the new Siri and Cortana and the new iPhone 8 and the new Windows 11. So machine will produce also, how can I say it, wealth that comes from intellectual property. I don't know. I don't know how can we do it. But I have the feeling that this is the correct way to go. Henry Kissinger, he used to be an American foreign minister. He visited China. It was 30 years ago. And they were building a road. And there were something like 1 million Chinese guys there building the road. And they didn't use any technology. They were using only, yes, showers that they were digging the ground, and and they took out the dirt and they tried to build the road. And they asked them, okay, why are you using trucks and tractors and technology, and you're using only people to do it? Because we need to give them jobs. And he asked them, why don't you use spoons then? If you were using spoons, you would need 10 times more labor, and you could use spoons to take out the dirt and and build the road. No, of course robots are going to produce labor work, labor jobs, and they produce wealth coming from labor jobs. This is something that it's going to happen. It's going to happen because we need to produce more in order to feed all the world, and even countries in Africa that they don't have money to buy goods and stuff because they are too expensive. Because they are expensive because some humans are doing the labor job and not robots. But I think that we need to have enlightened people as politicians in order to understand all these changes that are happening, in order to make it possible, societies also to change and to adapt to these huge steps ahead. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, so we have the last round of questions. I already took. You will be the last question I will take. So, no. Sorry. Follow up, and then Audrey, and then, okay, just follow up question, and I'm closing it.
I don't feel like I got an answer for my question, but anyway, I would like to say that we can exist without technology. We existed, that's why we're alive. And I do clearly understand that technology is important for our lives, but the question is that when it becomes not healthy, and we can see that so far it's not healthy when we become slaves of our devices, and this is very visible and observable. But I would like to ask, what ways have you planned to balance this out? We know it's a service, and it has so much good use of it, but how can we balance this out? Because not everything we produce, it's good for us, and the more we have doesn't mean that it's better for us. Yeah. So is there anything that you're thinking to balance this out?
Yes.
Okay.
You will be amazed with my answer. I think it's if the average age of humans raises, this means that we are using technology in a good way. I mean, even if you try to give any other answer, you will end up, does the average age of humanity raise? If it does, it means that we are in the good way. If it doesn't, it means that we're doing something wrong.
All right, so my name is Audrey, I'm French, and what I wanted to say is that I'm usually really wary of, let's say, the businesses, the online businesses that are online and using technology because of something we talked about, but in the end of the day, I'm sorry, but it's not humanitarian associations, it's economic businesses. And when we are talking about this, I'm wondering how much interest, I mean, some people know how to take care of their privacy or to post what is good or what is not good and really pay attention to what they post. But when you look especially at the really young generation that post everything because they think it's like a free thing and they don't maybe realize the impact it can have later for their own privacy, private life. And my question is how much interest the economic businesses have to really explain to these people the dangers it has. It's better if they post everything for them. So pretty much this is my question. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Vasil Stefanov from Bulgaria. One comment and question to Mr. Sidoridis. You touched upon it. I was going to ask you this question when you started about the labor market and the effect. And you yourself mentioned it. You talked about what changes will come with the automation of pretty much everything in the future. But you also said that you don't know how and what people who have jobs now, traditional jobs, would do in that case. So you, in a way, are you not signing the decline of humanity? How are we going to replace these traditional jobs with what? Not all these people are going to have access. We cannot expect, especially in poorer areas that are developing at much slower pace than is the whole technological evolution in the developed world. These people rely on these jobs to provide also providing cheap labor for our consumer societies. So when you break even that gap, how do you foresee the future?
Very good question, and thank you. I really don't have an answer. I mean, I know. Actually, I have an answer. I have some thoughts, but I know if they can be implemented. In general, if robots start doing the labor jobs, this means that the costs will go down. We are going to produce more goods, more stuff, in a better price. So I think then it's a matter of sharing. I mean, it's how you. Of course, there will be people that they are doing intellectual jobs that they will make money, lots of money. They will be able to buy stuff, to buy goods, but the taxi driver will not exist anymore. The truck driver will not exist anymore as a job. So I think it's a matter of sharing. I think it's a matter for politicians, not for business people. And I think that they should make some laws of how to share. And you know what? I think Stephen Hawking, it was 3 months ago during the Brexit that he said that we need to reinvent the new money. Especially after artificial intelligence comes, then it would make no sense, no meaning to buy goods and stuff. I mean, robots will build new iPhones that have been designed by robots. So this means that the cost is going to be €1. So it doesn't make any sense to try to make money. It makes sense to try to be intellectual, to be good at arts, to be good in science and invent more things, or to be I mean, good for your society, like these guys did with painting Sofia and making Sofia a very nice city. So you have to be rewarded for different things, and that you can't buy with money, because money will not make any sense. If you are watching Star Trek, they don't have money, they don't have money because money doesn't make any sense. I mean, you press a button and you have the perfect meal or everything that you want. You have, how it's called, food replicators. You press a button and you have it. So yes, it's a big issue. It's a big issue, and I think it's a politician issue, and I think also the society should support the politician that will be able to and willing to make these big changes, because there will be some rich people that they will have short eyes. I mean, they will not understand how the future goes, and they may be, you know, very afraid to share their wealth. Hopefully, really wealthy people like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg have started sharing their wealth for the well-being, and I think that they are showing the way of how our society should move.
I'll try to answer to both ladies. As a vendor, as you know, speaking professionally from Microsoft perspective, we provide a platform that other people use to build a solution. So how do you control the abuse of the technology? We have some mechanisms. For example, you said you're having a meeting and people are texting. There's like two ways to solve the problem. You have special devices that disable a cellular network, and I have seen people using them. I think it's not strictly by the law. It's a small device, you turn it on, you all lose the signal, you cannot text, you have to look at me. That's one way. What we prefer is to make a meeting actionable, engaging, and make people participate. Because if you do a presentation and people are texting, you're doing a lousy job of presenting. If you organize a meeting, you don't have the agenda and the plans. This is purely from, you know, how do you organize, and we have the whole group thinking about effective meetings, dynamic workplaces. So it's not, we go a little bit beyond technologies, how to use it in the best way. We have switched our work style some years ago, some offices sooner, some later, into a flexible workspace. So we don't have desks, we don't have assigned spaces. It's an open space, it's a hot seat. You go in, you sit where you feel like. In some, I don't know if I can use it as a public reference, but there's a city in the north of the Europe. They have a lot of IT businesses and a lot of consulting companies. So one of the consulting companies built intelligent building that fills in, of course, as an employee you need to opt in. I want to have the app that tracks my blah. You come to the building, it says there's a free parking place here, you don't have to roam. Then it says, okay, you have a meeting with Ben. Ben came 15 minutes ago and he's sitting on a second floor because it's an open seating. And then the building dynamically allocates resources and reallocates, so it's filling from the bottom. You don't go to the 7th floor, but you go to the first, then to the second. The building tells you where to go, but then it knows because it's you. You have a phone with an app. It says, okay, this is Alex. He likes the color of the lighting. I can tell the Philips did all the lighting systems. He prefers the cooler, like 500 Kelvin light, okay, so it adjusts. And I don't like air conditioning to blow strongly, so it can, you know, it's adjusting the workplace to the person. It's like science fiction, but it exists. So there are possibilities. But, and on the other topic, this is mostly Facebook, you know, people posting and blah. I don't know, you know, I don't know the Facebook core values or mission. I know Google says don't be evil. It's like mission, we have this, I show you the mission statement, empower everybody to achieve more. I don't know what the Facebook mission statement is. I think they benefit from it. They shouldn't encourage, but it's not up to the technology. It's about to awareness. So we need to do a better job as a society to educate people, to raise the awareness that there is an issue, there is an addiction. So you have people being treated from an iPhone addiction, or internet was a highly addictive thing when it became. Especially in South Korea, people are dying playing games. They play for 96 hours and then they collapse. I have seen games when I was younger-ish, the game when it's loading, so it took times to load levels, and then it usually tells you something funny, and then it says, we have noticed you have been playing 2 hours, so could you please just walk around a little bit, stretch your legs while we load the next level. And in the signature it says we don't want to lose valuable players, dedicated players like you. So it's in the awareness. And about the future, I saw a movie when I was really little. It left an impression. So I guess it was from 50s because I remember these very strong colors, you know, these unnatural colors like Ben-Hur. So, you know, everybody's shining. And the movie, I think it was called The Last Man on Earth. But I tried to Google it up, Bing it up. I didn't find it. So, but the story is far, far, far in the future, people live indefinitely. And they start to die out. So there is no natural death. You die when you decide you had enough. And the movie is about the last man on Earth. Everybody else died because they got bored. And he's not dying because he wants to know everything. And he goes day by day learning about more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And then at one moment, he says, I learned everything. Why am I not dying? Because he was like, he's also a little bit tired of living. And he says, now I know everything. I know that I know everything. Why am I not dying? And he couldn't. He was missing a piece. And then he starts working something. You don't see exactly, but he has an idea. He's working on something. He finishes after a long time. And then he goes and dies away. And then the camera comes back. And you see a little anthill with little ants making fire. So he learned everything. And then he passed the knowledge. That was the missing piece. So for me, the future of economy, the money is not. I mean, money is ancient. So for how many thousands, tens of thousands years we use money? We have to learn something. Well, what I think the asset will be the knowledge. So this is when the robots take these repetitive tasks, people will go to learn and to teach. You know, teaching is my passion. I like to pass on the knowledge. I think this is what this movie did to me. I cannot find which one it was. So it's about education, about awareness that we need to understand the impact on of technology on society, but it's a broader than a technology topic. Unfortunately, I'm a pretty much technology guy, but I think there is a necessity to involve the broader community into this discussion: psychology, education, government, regulation, whatnot.
Okay, we have the two last questions. Three, yeah, just briefly, and 3 more minutes, and we are done. Yeah.
Small comment. It's not only between us and big corporations, between us and Facebook and Google and Microsoft. It's also between us and friends, between us and society. I mean, my wife, Krisa, is with the audience, and I have to accept that she always knows where I am. She can ask me to share my location, and at any time to know where I am, and also she may also make a video call to me and see the environment I am in. Hopefully, I'm 100% loyal to her, so I have nothing to be afraid of.
Hopefully.
This is a privacy issue. Imagine that a friend of yours or your family or your spouse or whatever knows always what you are doing and where you are. Can we accept this? We have to.
Okay, really briefly, we have question there, we have Maria, and we're wrapping up in 3 minutes. So. Okay, thank you. Maria?
So first of all, I'm Maria from Youth Alliance team. I really like this session since it brought us a broad perspective of how can we see influential people in their own segments of work, and how can we be inspired from you and from your experience, but also from our peers, so we can know that we can do anything if we want. My question is, what is the philanthropic side of Microsoft, and where do you see Podless now in 10 years?
So the philanthropic side is in the mission statement. So we want to empower. Empower is a keyword. We tried to use enable, but we gave up. So we reverted back to empower the individuals, people, and businesses as organization of people, be either commercial or in a social manner, to achieve more. So this is like we are providing the tools to be more productive, more connected, more private, if you prefer. So you have a choice, and there is, let's say, a tool to use it. We also have a whole division within Microsoft, which is called the Microsoft Philanthropy, which is connected. It used to be the part of the PR, but now we have a citizenship and philanthropy, and then PR and marketing, advertising, whatnot. And this is the part of Microsoft that focuses on impact on the society. So whether through helping NGOs come up with a solution, we are a commercial company, so we sell stuff for money. Stuff used to be the software, you pay, you need a PC, you need a Windows, you need Office, you pay for it. Now we provide product and the service, so you can either buy Office or you can rent Office, but we live from that. So it's and we earn good money as a corporation. So definitely there is no opportunity. We don't give away software easily, but there is for a certain cause, and especially with NGOs, we work closely. We don't donate software to governments, but we have very favorable contracting terms with governments, which might go back to our question from Serbia. The change is necessary, and I believe it's imminent. We have a lot of, I wouldn't say the technological challenge, there is a barrier on technology. Yes, we do have some oldish systems, but it's not anything that it's not solvable. The challenge is in the, let's say, in the political will to make a change, to optimize the whole government administration. Although we are having, the chapters are being opened, and we have to go this way to optimize in a judicial term, in the healthcare. There is the big reform ongoing on focusing the primary healthcare to preventative, which is aligned with the trends outside. So I believe the technology can only accelerate. So there is no, I don't see a technological challenge, but it's still in the regulatory phase. Just a simple example: we have the system e-Uprava, so the Director of Electronic Services, that you, as a citizen, you can go and apply for a service. The back end is fully manual, but you have a convenience as a citizen to request a service electronically. It poses an overhead on the government back end because they do things manually for the simplest reason. It's not that they don't have a solution to do stuff electronically, but there is a regulation on the office administration, which is like 70 years old, which says that the document can only be papers with a stamp. And until this regulation is updated, although they have electronic document management system, they cannot use it because they still need to produce a paper in every step of the process. So this is, I think it's the similar situation we see in healthcare, but there is a huge project with Macedonian solution being implemented for HR information management system, which is called something interesting. I have it written down from a meeting. There is a will, but it's still on the regulatory side. The technology can only boost it, hopefully soon.
Where do you see Podlesno in 10 years?
Of 10 years. If we're still doing not listening in 10 years, that would be pretty sad. But thank you for the question, first of all. Finally. I don't know, 10 years is like a big period of time, so I will be speaking like very optimistically. The first thing is that we'll probably stay friends because we've made very stable connections between us. And more than that, we are hoping that we'll create this connection of NGOs and creative people, because through our work and my work and each member's work, we've met, I know musicians, I know video production guys, Yuli knows urban planners, we know a lot of architects and graffiti artists now, and artists in general. So we had this idea of creating this network of people, which is physical as well as digital. We had this idea of making like a platform. We're not programmers, so we haven't done it yet. Hopefully in the future, like a basically Facebook for creative people, where we can share projects, we can exchange connections in the creative world. So if you need, like, you've done an exhibition and you need a video guy to come and shoot it, or you need a musician to come play music, you can find those guys. So hopefully we'll be able to go out these underpasses and create this network of people and be very powerful in a good way to spread creativity and good amongst people. So hopefully that in Bulgaria and in the Balkans and more, why not?
Well, thank you very much for this, I would say, enlightening but also puzzling discussion that we had. And before we go to the coffee break, I know that there was some announcement that is going to be done, so please.
Yes, I have an announcement, very quick. As you know, we have those working groups about like how the media, reporting, etc. So I would like the reporting team and everyone who would like to be interested in reporting to meet today at 3 o'clock here in the bar, you know, the place where we can get coffee, etc., because there are tables. So everyone who would like to, or who is already in the reporting team or who would like to join, please let us meet today at 3 o'clock at the bar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the coffee is already ready. So we are going to the groups. We finish the coffee break at 12 and then we go to the groups.